The kennel was quiet. 5 puppies lay pressed against each other, not yet understanding that the warmth they huddled against was no longer alive. They slept. They dreamed their first dreams. Dreams without pictures, only of smells and sensations. It smelled of mother. It smelled of milk. It smelled of safety. The first puppy, the stubborn one, slept soundest of all. He had eaten more than the others, drunk his fill of milk, and now lay with his nose buried in his mother's belly, snoring softly. His tiny paws twitched in his sleep. Perhaps he dreamed of crawling, searching, finding. He didn't know there was no one left to find. Morning crept into the kennel on thin rays of light. The sun rose above the horizon, and the first golden threads seeped through the cracks in the boards, falling on the straw, on the sleeping puppies, on their motionless mother. The first puppy stirred. He felt hunger, that same hunger that made him crawl, search, fight. He nudged his nose into his mother's belly, as he had done many times during the night. But there was no milk. The belly was cold. The puppy didn't understand. He nudged again, harder, whimpered, thinly, pitifully. His mother didn't answer. He lifted his head and, for the first time in his life, opened his eyes. Light struck them, bright, unfamiliar, frightening. The world was blurry, a haze of spots and shadows. But through the haze, he saw something large, dark, motionless beside him. He didn't know it was his mother. He only felt that there should be warmth here, and there was none. He whimpered louder. His brothers and sisters stirred. They too woke, felt hunger, began nuzzling into their mother, searching, calling. The kennel filled with thin, desperate squeaking. A chorus of newborns who didn't understand why their world had suddenly become cold and empty. The old man woke at dawn. His name was Joseph, 73 years old, bad knees, a cane in the corner, and an empty house where no voice but his own had sounded for many years. He pulled on his old jacket, found his cane, and went out to the yard to feed Bella. She waited for him every morning, always stood by the kennel, wagging her tail, looking at him with her kind eyes. The only living creature that greeted him. Today she didn't. Bella, the old man called, squinting. Bella, where are you? Silence. He hobbled toward the kennel. His heart was pounding faster than usual for some reason. He bent down, looked inside, and froze. Bella lay on her side, motionless. And around her, pressed against her, squirmed 5 tiny bundles. They squeaked, nuzzled into her, crawled over her, not understanding that she would never wake up. God, the old man breathed. His knees gave way. He grabbed the edge of the kennel to keep from falling. Darkness swam before his eyes. 73 years, a bad heart, and now this. He sank to his knees right in the mud. Didn't feel the pain. Reached out his hand, touched Bella. Cold, gone. His Bella, his only friend, and the puppies kept squeaking. Thinly, desperately, without pause. The old man knelt in the mud, looking at them. 5 tiny lives hanging by a thread. No mother, no milk, no hope. The first puppy crawled toward his hand, touched his finger with a wet nose, licked it. Joseph looked at him, tiny, blind, helpless, but alive, so alive. He tried to stand and couldn't. His legs wouldn't obey. His heart clenched with pain, not physical pain, but the kind worse than any sickness. He had lost Bella. He couldn't lose them too. Get up, old man, he said aloud to himself. Get up, damn it. He leaned on the kennel, tried to rise. His foot slipped on the wet mud. He fell, hit his elbow, hissed with pain. Get up, he shouted at himself. On the second try, he got up, grabbed his cane, leaned on it, straightened. His knee shot fire, but he was standing. I'll be back, he told the puppies. Hold on, just hold on, and he hobbled toward the house. The distance to the house was 50 meters. Usually he covered it in a minute. Now every step was a battle. His leg wouldn't obey. His knee was swollen, Mud caked on his boots, making them heavy as shackles. His cane kept sinking into the soft ground. He fell again. Halfway there, hit his elbow, scraped his palm on a stone. "Damn it," he cried out loud. "Damn it, damn it, damn it." He lay in the mud, looking at the sky, thinking, "If I don't get up, they'll die. All 5, right now, while I lie here like a stupid old fool." He remembered how the puppy had licked his finger. "Get up, Joseph," he whispered. "Get up." He rose, crawled on all 4s because his legs wouldn't hold him. Then stood, leaned on his cane, and walked. 1 step, another, the porch, steps. He grabbed the railing and hauled himself up. The door, his hands shook. The key wouldn't go into the lock. "Come on," he shouted, pounding his fist against the door. The key slid in. The door opened. Inside, he collapsed onto a chair, not even taking off his muddy boots. The phone. Where was the phone? He groped across the table, through his pockets. Nothing. Had he left it on the porch? No. He got up again, hobbled to the door, opened it. The phone lay on the railing. He grabbed it, went back inside, fell into the chair. His fingers wouldn't obey. The phone screen was wet with rain and mud. He tried to dial the vet's number but kept missing the buttons. "Calm down," he told himself. "Calm down, old man. You can do this." He wiped the screen on his sleeve. Dialed the number. The phone rang and rang. "Answer, damn it, answer." Finally, a voice. "Joseph? This is Dr. Evans. What's wrong? Bella's dead." Joseph shouted into the phone. "She had puppies. Newborns. What do I do? Tell me what to do." The voice on the other end spoke calmly, giving instructions. Joseph listened, nodded, scribbled on a scrap of paper with shaking hands. "Special milk. Feed every 2 hours. Bottles. Keep them warm." He hung up and looked at his notes. Half of them were illegible. "God help me," he whispered. He had to go to the pet store. His old bicycle was the only option. The car had broken down a month ago, and he had no money to fix it. Joseph climbed onto the bicycle, groaned with pain in his knee, and pedaled off. 5 kilometers in the cold rain. His leg pushed the pedals through sheer will. Wind lashed his face. His hands froze to the bone. At the store, he bought everything the vet had said. Milk replacement formula, tiny bottles with nipples, a heating pad. He barely had enough money. Had to count out his last coins. "For puppies?" the saleswoman asked. "For puppies," he replied. "Their mother died." She looked at him, a wet, muddy old man with shaking hands, and put an extra pack of puppy pads into his bag for free. "Take care," she said. He nodded and pedaled back. The kennel was quiet, too quiet. Joseph looked inside and went cold. 2 of the puppies weren't moving. They lay pressed together, no longer breathing. 3 were left. The first puppy, the stubborn one, was still crawling. He nudged his nose into his brother, his sister, the walls of the kennel, the straw. He searched, always searching, but he had almost no strength left. Joseph sank to his knees, no longer feeling pain, no longer feeling anything but despair. "Alive?" he whispered. "Are you alive?" The 3 stirred, whimpered faintly. The old man exhaled. He realized he hadn't been breathing. He took out a box, lined it with the puppy pads, put the heating pad inside. Carefully, with trembling hands, he lifted the puppies into the box. They squeaked louder, paddled their tiny legs. "Shish, shish, little ones," he murmured. "Almost there. Just hold on." He warmed the milk on the stove. Checked the temperature, dripped it on his wrist. Filled the tiny bottle. The first puppy caught the scent. His nose twitched. He whimpered, crawled toward the edge of the box. "Come here, little fighter." Joseph brought the nipple to his muzzle. The puppy latched on and went silent. Only sucking sounds, gulping greedily. The old man watched him and felt tears streaming down his cheeks. He hadn't cried in years. Couldn't remember the last time. Now he cried. Eat, he whispered. Eat, little one. Live. He fed each one in turn. The first, the second, the third. They drank greedily, not believing their luck. When they finished, Joseph wrapped the box in an old jacket and carried them inside. Inside, it was warm. The box sat by the stove. The puppies lay pressed together, full and content. They no longer trembled. They slept. Joseph sat nearby on a stool, watching them. His hands still shook. His knee throbbed. His back ached, but he smiled. "Well, Bella," he said softly, looking upward. 3 survived. 3. You'd be proud. He looked at the first puppy. He slept with his nose tucked against his brother, snoring softly. The smallest, the stubbornest, the most determined to live. "You're a fighter," the old man chuckled. "A real fighter." He scratched behind the puppy's ear. In his sleep, the puppy licked his finger. Joseph laughed quietly, so as not to wake them. Outside, night fell. Inside, light glowed by the stove. 3 puppies slept in their box. The old man sat nearby, guarding their sleep. Night, quiet, warm, safe. In the box by the stove, 3 tiny puppies sleep. Nearby, on a stool, an old man dozes, his head drooped. His hand rests on the edge of the box, as if even in sleep he protects them. The first puppy opens his eyes for a moment, looks at the glow from the stove, at the silhouette of the old man nearby, squints, closes his eyes again. He doesn't know what lies ahead, doesn't know he will become a hero, that he will save 44 lives, that he will meet a boy named Ben. He only knows that now he is warm, now he is fed, now he is not alone. That is enough. 3 survived, but only one was destined to become a legend. They named him Buddy. To be continued.